What's going on, everybody? Hey, good morning, good afternoon. Getting ready here for our New York session. Heath, Jesse, Ihab, Blair, Bendrifa, good morning, everyone. Good to see you all today. Looking forward to sharing with you what's going on this morning. We have some numbers. Ooh, we got a lot of interesting things to talk about, actually. I'm going to get into the FX pairs in just a moment. But we had a little bit better than expected unemployment claims coming in only at 5.2 million. And but seriously, that's some pretty good numbers considering the fact and everything that's going on. Not so bad. Building permits also better in the US. Philly Fed obviously got blown out of the water, but that's all expected. And let's see what else there is. By the way, I saw yesterday the House, the Congress is looking to pass a bill, something called like maybe the Emergency Relief Act or something like that, but that would give, I believe, what is it, $2,000 a month to Americans, plus then $500 per child, up to 3 children. This is if they said for 6 months or until the job numbers return to normal, which they may never. So this might be the start of actually MMT. This, once they start it, they may never be able to stop it. That could add to further dollar weakness. We're going to have to revisit that theory either which way. Gold, here we are looking at gold right now, is going to be the beneficiary of all of this unruly experimentation here with the financial system, as is Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, we were following this bull channel yesterday, and we reached the bottom of it. I said 6,400 would probably be the low. We didn't reach that far down. We reached down to 6,472, but off the bottom of the channel, and more importantly, our horizontal support. And since we've now broken out to the upside of this channel, if this closes on the daily time frame outside of this channel, that will be absolutely a bullish breakout over here. And that last night I was playing with charts on my mobile, and I got rid of my down triangle line. So I'm not going to add that in right now, but I do believe this move has the potential to take us past the bottom of that triangle, the one that you're all familiar with because we've been looking at it. I'll add it later. It's not important right now, but that could bring us anywhere between 81 and 84, or more specifically at the resistance at 81.77 and up to 84.77 before we retrace back in to test that broken resistance and see if it holds that support. And if it does, again, that would be really bullish. So we'll see. It's still tracking the equities, the S&Ps a little bit. I have the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, because I'm going to get back to that in 1 second. Now, Bitcoin is, as you could see, up on the day, but so is the S&P. So that's not really that good, meaning I'm looking for the day where both gold and Bitcoin have really bazooka up days, why the S&P got destroyed, because that would say to me that they're no longer as tightly correlated as they are right now. However, S&P didn't make it's. I take that back. I think they have. Let's see. This move started on 0.6, and the S&P. Yeah, I would say that. How is that possible? I would say that they are pretty tightly correlated still. So that's not such good news. Even still, listen, we looked at the S&P in a video the other day, and I would not be surprised if either of the other options happened. Either we retest the lows or make lower lows, as we should, or we go on to test 3,300, because this is all fake right now. And I don't care about being right. I just care about being on the right side of the trade. But something that, and here's gold, by the way. Gold, I'm not sure that it's still consolidating. I'm gonna say that it's still consolidating, looking pretty good, but in this area, it looks like a potential also bull flag, but I think the dollar is putting in a little headwinds, and the dollar is looking uh, well, it's looking mixed now after a strong showing earlier on, right? Let's look at that, and then we're gonna start digging in. So I really want to talk about actually the dollar with you because I was looking at some data yesterday that suggests that all of this stimulus actually has like a 2-month lag on weighing on the US dollar, which is interesting, right? Um, my mind is still completely open to which direction the dollar goes. Again, I don't care about being right. I just want to be on the right side of the trade. And although I have that bullish dollar bias, I'm really just trying to weigh both sides of that trade over and over again, because you know what, we're in uncharted territories, and anyone who says that they have the answer or no, I don't, and I think it's really important for the next, whether it's 3, 6, or 12 months to be on the right side of the dollar trade. Uh, I think it's very important for, for all of our trading. So I want to make sure that I'm on the right side of the trade there. So let's just go back for a moment into that swing traders mindset, and figure out where we are right now. And we have a hugely bullish bias on the dollar, right? But at the same time, we're still coiling. All right, we're waiting for a breakout one way or the other, and that breakout after us consolidating now is going to be pretty big. And we'll just continue to watch it. That's all I'm going to say right now. I am really wrestling with myself, right? Trying to figure out what the long-term move on the dollar is going to be. I want to be on that right side of the trade. Right now, it's still unknown. And the question is all this stimulus going to weaken the dollar, or are we in such a deflationary type of environment with this enormous amount of debt and a low trade that it's going to strengthen the dollar? I don't know yet. We're going to figure it out. All right. People were looking at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen this morning. I want to take a look. Let's dig in and see where we are. Now, sometimes I get some comments, on the videos, and they're like, "What do you mean you don't know? It's ridiculous. You don't know." I find it often that I don't know. How is it that you know all the time? So here we are. By the way, this line should be, obviously, this is the strong resistance. This should be thicker. If it's throwing me off, it's throwing you off. Maybe not. Anyway, we came back. We were all looking at the Australian dollar pairs, all the pairs into that strong resistance since we've come off into the first area of support. So this is support, by the way. And so far, we're maintaining and holding that area of support. You could see the touch here was resistance, was support, and now this is support. A break below here, right? For anyone who got short up here, if you're short up here, by the way, you're still holding this trade. When are you looking to get out? You're looking to get out of this trade in 1 or 2 areas. Right now, you're holding, waiting for a breakdown, right? What happens if you start retracing upwards? Where do you get out of the trade? Well, if you put your, above the top of this little consolidation area here, you would have the earliest exit somewhere around 68.22, right? If you wanted to get out, protect a few pips of profit, whatever it is, 20 pips or whatever, you get out there, or you have your stop at break even now as you came into the first area of support, and you wait for either one of those to happen. You're still giving this trade room to see if it's going to break down. And to be honest, it could go either way as it's coming off this support over here. Wouldn't take the long off the support. I wouldn't take the long off the support. We are still in a downtrend. Is it possible we put it in a bottom down here? Yep, it's possible, but I'd rather take out the big support up here, the strong resistance up here, and then, perhaps looking at at getting long. Even still, I wouldn't get long because I'm not a fan of risk in this environment. If you're gonna play risk, play the long S&P, right? Play the long S&P because that's fake. So FX is not. So here you go. So that's the trade you're looking at right now, and let's see if we break down or this trade didn't pan out. If this trade doesn't pan out and we come back and take a break even on it, come back up into this resistance, still have another opportunity to get short, right? Let's see what happens. Yeah, there you go. That's true. Even the banks don't know. We started the session off. Raj, welcome. Good to see you. Good morning. Glad you're here with us. We started the session off on Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure you could go ahead and you could just on the right side of the stream, just take that red dot and pull it back to the beginning, because it's starting in about the first minute of the live stream, or maybe 2 or 3. You're going to see us take a look at Bitcoin. Go ahead and do that, then come back into real time and join us. Let's see. So DXY now, we could see, which started off pretty bullish, is now coming back to almost unchanged on the day. And at the end of the day, it's still within this really narrow range, getting ready for a breakout to one side or the other. S&Ps right now are towards the high of the session, into this area of resistance over here at 2809. If we're able to take that out, I think that we probably test the high at 2850 and probably break it coming into our area of interest. All right, let's see. I want to first start off with the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and see what has happened since yesterday's Bank of Canada rate announcement. So let's start over there. All right, so this looks good, actually. Why does this look good? Well, we had the breakout. We had the false move to the downside, which we were watching, looking for a false move. Came back up, broke out to the upside over here, and is now coming back. And you can see it actually coming back, and it's testing an area of support. So that looks like an area, right? If we hold over in here, you can see the support, because right over there, it's support as well. If this area holds and resumes up, I'm going to bounce that out because this is the area of interest. If we resume back up and start taking out this local resistance right there, that point that looks, or the higher high than this session, than this 8-hour period, that looks like an opportunity to get long over here at US dollar, Canadian dollar, and a good one after the breakout, pull back into the first support. If it doesn't even come back all the way in and test the trend line, that's even more bullish. So that's something to keep an eye on and watch how it plays out. Oil off the lows so far, not yet, just bleeding out. All right. This is in a downtrend, and it's a sharp downtrend as well. We're looking for pullbacks into resistance to sell. That's what we're looking for. Is this a pullback right now into resistance? It may be. It may be. If you rolled over here, if you started rolling over, taking out the lows, that might be the time to go ahead and play a breakdown. As far as more upside, right? Approaching the 22.16. Let me draw that in, actually. Let me just move this over. That would also be the closest area to see how it reacts. Oil remains, for a good reason, under some strong pressure. As far as going into this session, so I've been buying time. It's really mixed, right? The first thing I noticed, and this is the first time I'm actually getting into taking a look at pairs this morning, is with you right now. But the first thing that caught my eye was that we're really undecided, that there's not much happening. And now I'm looking here at the percentages, and you could see that they're very, very low. There's no big moves, right? There's no big moves at all. What does that tell you? Is that an environment that you want to be trading in? Probably not. But let's take a look. Let's go through all the pairs and let's find out what's going on and where the opportunity lies. We'll start here with the Euro Australian dollar. And so I don't really like where that support is. That support should be down over there. There. We're pulling back right now into that support over here. I liked it as we pulled down over to here, but didn't want to take the euro versus the Australian dollar. Again, we set our sights that day on the Swiss franc, on the Japanese yen, and then possibly the dollar versus the Australian dollar. Nevertheless, the euro US dollar, we were saying this might be a turning point. It's since started trading upwards and now is coming back down into the first area of support. If this resumes off, this is offering opportunity as well. All right. We'll have to watch it. Euro New Zealand dollar looking very similar, a little bit healthier actually than the Euro Australian dollar. Again, this has broken. This was resistance, came into the first next area of resistance, pull back into support. So it's kind of sideways between resistance and support, and I'd stay away from that completely. So everything, I think this might be the theme of the day, is that everything is kind of a little bit sideways. And, again, there's no clear indication of what's happening today. At least coming into New York, everything so far is pretty subdued. Subdued is the good word. We want to always know the environment we're in. Here we have the US dollar, Japanese yen, and you could see over the last 24 hours, it has been in a very tight range going nowhere. It's between a support area and a resistance. Breaking down over here, that actually becomes pretty attractive. I'm seeing this similar to the US dollar index, but here's what I see. I see lower highs, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 in a row. On the upside, I see higher lows, but then I see over here, this is I don't know if you want to call that a double, or this is actually a lower low, right? So if this breaks down again and makes another lower low, you could see it falling apart over here. You could see over here, you have the higher lows, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. All right, then you had a higher low, but then this one actually made, it's almost even, but made a lower low. So if you come back down again, that would seem to me that this has the potential to be breaking down over here. And we'll watch it, right? The dollar is kind of just going back to the dollar, because that's a dollar. This is getting ready to break out, and it could go up or down. I have no idea, right? I have no idea which way that's going to lead. Euro Canadian dollar, a little bit similar to what's going on exactly with the Euro Australian dollar that we just looked at, also the Euro New Zealand dollar. But at the same time, this looks pretty bullish against the Canadian dollar. And you can see that we've come we've come back above this area of resistance, and it's turning into support now if this holds and start resuming upwards. The thing is, how much room do you have to the upside? A decent amount. I would say that you have a couple of hundred pips actually. So that's a trade to consider and look at. There is a lot of supply over here though. So I don't really like that, taking a trade into that. But, would you be surprised if oil broke down and that put a lot of further pressure on the Canadian dollar? Or if the US dollar broke out versus the Canadian dollar to the upside again and putting pressure across all Canadian dollar crosses? I would not. Again, these are possible setups. Neither one of them look attractive. Again, I'm just going to skip over this because I don't see anything here on the pound New Zealand dollar. Yeah, we'll get to we'll get to it all. I'm gonna just keep going with the flow. Next pair is the Euro US dollar, so we'll take a look at it right now. But I'm gonna go through the flow this morning. Go through. I need to get just a I need to ingrate in my mind what's going on over here by just giving myself a quick overview of all the FX pairs, right? And by doing that, I'll get a better idea of what my plan needs to be today, because it's not clear today. It's kind of cloudy and murky and really subdued. So I need to figure that out. And then after that, we could go ahead and look at individual pairs for sure. But I'm not even looking at the comments right now. Jasper, as far as taking a long, well, hold on a second. So this is in a downtrend, right? We're in a strong downtrend in the Euro US dollar. I am only looking, or have been looking, for shorts. The channel was the play. This was the entry. And since that trade has materialized, right, the trade is actually falling well and nicely into profit. You got to get back above this area of now resistance in order, if you were to be looking for longs, or come down into this area of support to look for a long. But right now, this is a bear flag in a downtrend, which is a continuation pattern. And right now, after breaking out of the trend and losing this support, coming back up, retesting it, this has a bearish bias to it. You should be looking for shorts, not longs, unless, of course, you get back above this area of resistance. All right. If you get back above this area of resistance, you could look for a long between here and here. And this one, after holding this resistance, holding over here last term, well, maybe this time it'll break up, right? So above this resistance over here turns support, you could look for longs. Or down over here at this support, you could weigh in for a long as well. But right here, right now, this is very bearish in the fact that we're in a downtrend. This is a bear flag continuation. So I'm not looking for longs. And I actually yesterday picked up a short, not where I would have liked it, all the way up here though, at around 1.0912 off of this after this support broke and then was retested as resistance. That's where I got in. Back above here, you could start looking for longs again. All right. Back above here, you could start looking for longs again. But right now, this is playing out as it should and has a bearish bias to it. We'll see if that holds or not, but that's where we are right now. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. This looks exactly similar. Exactly similar. This looks pretty much the same as the Australian dollar, Japanese yen that we looked at together, coming off of the strong support. If you're holding this short, right? Right now, I'm looking at this myself because I am in this trade. And all I'm doing right now is moving my stop to break even and looking to see if we push down further and are able to take out this area of support and then look for perhaps taking profit down here. Right now, though, it just becomes a free trade. If we come back up, get stopped out, fine. If we test this resistance again and reject it, that's another opportunity to get short. But that's where we're at. The market is just extremely undecided. As far I'm not taking longs off of this support, right? Could someone? You could. If this is the bottom and we are in an uptrend right now, right? Depending on where you're looking at things, the possibility remains that over here you just had a pullback into support, and on a resumption upwards, the risk reward is there. The risk reward is definitely there. If you even, if you took, I'm short. If you took a long right here with your stop under this support, your risk reward going into the first resistance is highly favorable. And, that could go either way, but I'm looking at this as we're in a downtrend. I'm looking and trading this as we're in a downtrend. And this is the first area of strong resistance that we're turning. We'll see if we resume with further pressure downwards or consolidate up over here. The trade could go either way. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. This one has, I'm also short this one. This one has definitely more of a bearish bias with more pressure on it. This one gives you a little bit of a better opportunity um, to get out of the trade with a little bit of profit locked in. But again, I'm holding this, waiting this for to see if this materializes further to the downside, and we'll see. Um, you know, I feel like and believe that if you really want to play any type of risk, do it on the equity markets right now. You know, and I think that's the place to play them. In FX, I'm staying risk off minded. This is the euro British pound, and this again. So this is where we are across the board. If you see it, we're kind of in an area of consolidation, and it's really not clear. This is not like picture you're surfing. You're sitting out on your surfboard looking for the set of waves to come in, but you're kind of looking at the horizon and you're just waiting because you don't really see it today. It's not like you see a set coming in. Which one's the best one for me to take? Let me try to get on that one. All right, that didn't work. Oh, there's another one. Let me get on it. Right now, it's kind of like just waiting for that next set to come in. That's where you are, right? And here we are on the euro British pound, and why this continues to be bearish. This was the first indication, right? The break of this trend line that was an offer another opportunity, but right now we're just consolidating. There's nothing going on there at all. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. It's been a while we've looked at this pair, and we are in this area of resistance, but this actually offers opportunity. As I just pointed out, versus the crosses, the New Zealand dollar is acting more bearish than the Australian dollar. This has the potential. I'm going to look on the daily time frame with you. This has the potential here to break out to the upside. This will be since November, late November, the highest we've been. You could see that we have now broken above this area of the false breakout, and we're above it. And if we hold over here, so come back down to the 8-hour. If you start making new highs over here, now that it's consolidating above the break. So let me do this and turn this over green. This is actually offering a possible trade over here. You know, we're above the, you know, I call it the 6-month high, and now consolidating. So if this consolidates and then breaks out to the upside, that's definitely a place to get long there on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar for a little bit of a continuation. This is nothing. This is, you know, you're between resistance and support in a sideways market. In a sideways market, right, you could take either side of that. You could sell resistance and buy support in a sideways market. You don't really have to look for that downtrend or uptrend. You know, both sides are in play, but you're in the exact middle between resistance and support. So there's absolutely nothing going on whatsoever, which seems to be the theme of today. Again, US dollar, Swiss franc, why it's holding over that support over here. I see the same exact patterns that I'm seeing on the euro US dollar and or US dollar Japanese yen. And that is the here or the DXY as well. You can see here the lower highs and the higher lows. And this one is coming actually almost to a perfect triangle, right? With both lower highs and higher lows. There's no edge there. And again, we're getting ready to break, but we're not there yet. And there's no edge either way as we come to the pinnacle, right? A big move's coming on the dollar. A big move is coming on the dollar. Pound Canadian dollar continues to look bullish, but when we back down when we were towards support was the entry. There's, you know, this is perhaps profit taking or looking to push that trade, but there's no play at all here. And that seems to be the theme of the day. So if you're really looking to push a trade here, you know, I would really reconsider that. This is the first session we've had in a little while where there's just absolutely no clarity as far as what's happening. Again, euro Swiss franc, stay away from it. This is where the Swiss bank intervenes. It's too dangerous of a trade. You can't buy here thinking the Swiss bank got your back, because they could at any point just stop and then this thing tumbles. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, just a really big consolidation going on. You know, that could open up a big move one way or the other, but it's not yet done. All right. You have to, this is not, there's nothing happening today that is warrants anyone taking a trade. This looks similar to what we were looking at. This is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And when I say that it looks similar into the fact that, you know, whether you're looking at New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, come off the strong resistance and now holding this area of support. I would be pushing this, holding this, giving it the opportunity to break down. But again, yeah, if I'm not short this pair. If I was short this pair, I would now just be looking to go ahead and probably lock in my profit of just about 30, 40 pips, but giving this ample room here to see if this breaks down further. If it starts breaking down further, this could really become a beautiful trade. Pound Japanese yen, again, there is nothing going on today. Look at this. We are just straight lined, consolidating. Is there an edge to which way this thing breaks? You know, why I favor the downside because this is rolling over. There's nothing here materializing, right? There's no edge. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, same. If you took this trade and you're holding it, this one you want to give opportunity to break down. You can see the difference between pound Japanese yen and Australian dollar, Japanese yen. There is the possibility here that New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, Australian dollar, Swiss franc, Australian dollar, Japanese yen, do break down further off this area of support. Again, just same thing. Like at the same time, if you're considering this the bottom and now you're starting an uptrend, you are buying off support. The risk reward coming up into here it's a good risk reward, right? So I could see someone taking that trade, although I took this one. I'm short from up here. So I'm giving this room to see if I break down past the closest support. And then if I break down close to the closest support, I have to 66.56 at that point to look how to manage the trade next. And I'm going to follow the momentum, right? See if we stall out there. If we stalled out here, when I'm two supports down, if I stall out and start resuming upwards, I take my profit. On the first one, I just move my stop to break even. All right, we are on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Hey, listen, I wish I could make the market look different and be like look at it with clarity. It's just not there today, right? You can notice the whole dynamic of our live stream today is totally different than it's been for quite a while. Because today I'm just looking at the market and I'm saying, listen, there's zero edge. There's a couple of plays still possible, whether you're managing a trade on Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, and or possibly looking for a long on those, which I'm holding my shorts. I'm not looking for those longs, but there's not too much going on. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, again, there's no edge here. Get above this area of resistance, maybe. I have to remove this now. This should be support down here, and on this, I just don't like it. You're just consolidating, no edge whatsoever. Australian dollar, US dollar, however, let me put my resistance in over here. Strong resistance at that. This looks the same as all our Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar pairs. Again, you're off the resistance. If you're in this trade, I'm not in this trade. If you're in this trade, you're holding this. You're looking to come into this area of support down here a little bit further. And at that point, that's a pretty good trade. You might want to consider if price does resume off there taking profits, but I would still be giving it room over here. All right. There's no direction. There's no direction, right? But I would, I don't know. Some people might take that profit, right? What is that? But maybe about 40 or so pips in there, and now first sign that you're resuming upwards. But I would not. I would be giving that room. The momentum here off the strong support. I look at this is a downtrend, and this was the area to attack. If you don't hold on your winning trades and give them the opportunity to turn into solid trades, then you don't really have the opportunity of getting ahead. So I tend to push trades that are going in my direction, looking for them to hold, right? US dollar, Canadian dollar, we looked at already. This is actually one trade, one pair that's offering a possibility. I like this a lot for a couple of reasons, so I'll get into it. I like this trade because, when we broke down here, we were looking at this being a false breakdown, right? That's why you never play the breakdowns. You wait for the retest and then the confirmation that you're coming back down to the short side, right? So here's the breakdown candle. You wait for the retest, and then price never made a lower low. That would never get you into the trade that protects you. That's why you stay protected. Here you broke out to the upside. Since you broke out to the upside, you're coming down now, testing the first area. You see the support here, right? Resistance there. Now you're testing that line as support. If this resumes to the upside, starts making higher highs, this looks good. And I also like the fact after breaking this trend line that so far it's only pulled back a little bit into the first area of local support. That's pretty bullish. If it were to pull back further into the trend line itself, that's still good. But you could see that the buyers are stepping in over here already. So that's pretty good bullish. I would say this is the only pair that I see today that's offering perhaps opportunity. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. We've already been through this ad nauseum, and we're into that local area of support. I'm waiting for a further breakdown. New Zealand dollar has been the weakest, and you could see where my mouse is. I'm not even going to draw it in because it's not heavy or strong support, but it's an area of local support, right? And then what's down further, 63.16. I would be more apt to watching how price moves around there. And perhaps there is where I take my profit. But right now I'm giving it still further room. I'll put that in there for me. And let's take a look at the euro, Japanese yen. Under pressure. And that's that euro. I feel like the euro is ready to fall. I know that such a large amount of people, maybe that'll change this week. Maybe those traders that were all long the euro the last 2 weeks on the committed traders are flipping, rightfully so, to short euros, which they should be. But this is under pressure. This could break down. I missed. This was our beautiful entry, and then you had the bear flag. This was a potential entry. I'm not chasing it down here. I believe it could break down. $116.27. Right, breaks below there. Wow. This thing could bleed out in the months ahead. I would not be surprised at all to see this bleed out in the months ahead. Pound, Australian dollar. Again, the entry was down here off of support. Nothing going on right now. Actually, you have a lot of overhead resistance. If I were in that trade, which I'm not, I would be taking profit. I don't like all that overhead supply above me. And if I were taking this buy off of this support down here in this uptrend, buy off support, I would be taking profit right now. Pound, US dollar. Oof. All right. This one looks, this is not where I'd be attacking versus the dollar. The pound is moderately strong. All right. And I would not be looking to it. There, again, it's really important to layer upon layer probabilities in your favor, right? Edge upon edge. And one of those edges you need to do is figure out right now in your swing trader time frame, and or if you're a day trader, then that makes things much easier. What's the strongest, what's the weakest for the day, but it's so easy from the swing trade level as well. Find out which pairs are strong, which pairs are weak. That's where you look to attack. The pound is moderate at this point, and it's kind of sideways over here. There's, I would just stay aside. I don't see it yet. If we broke down, came back up and retested, and then resumed down, okay, because there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room. 300 and 20 pips over here. That's tasty, and I like it. But I like this level better. You see the resistance from over here? That resistance turns support right there and is holding as support right there. All right. So our step back. This is a downtrend, right? A clear downtrend. Was this the bottom? If this was the bottom over here and now you're beginning an uptrend and you've come back down and you pulled back into support, if you resume over here, I could see someone and would support someone taking a long pound versus US dollar 100%. If you break that below here and lose this area, which was resistance, then turn support. If you lose that and start trading down, get a retest and resumption, that's a good short over there as well. So that's interesting. The US dollar, Canadian dollar is offering possible opportunity. And then out of everything else we looked at also, unless you're managing a trade, then over here on the pound US dollar, there is also, I would say that it's moderately in play. I could see opportunity possibly developing. This is sideways. So you could see that again, strength versus weakness. We see we see the Swiss franc, we see the Japanese yen, we see the US dollar making gains versus the New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar as they were in that heavy resistance. The same thing's not happening versus the pound. The pound is moderately strong. Right? Get below this support over here and things change. Right? Once you're below the support, things change. Right over here between resistance and support, and not only that, you're dead center. There's no edge whatsoever at all. And finally, the US dollar, Mexican peso. This looks similar to the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and rightfully so. Both those pairs have been beat up very strongly by the US dollar. Here's that trend line. You were looking at the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Not only that, after that, here is the pullback into the first area. See the support, resistance, now support. This resuming upwards. This is also as attractive as the US dollar, Canadian dollar. So there you go. You have three potential opportunities that I see today. The rest is managing Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar trades and or Euro US dollar short. That's about it. That's a pretty strong rundown as far as what's going on today. That took about 43 minutes. So I'd say 40 minutes. And that was a little bit different than what we've been doing lately because today the market's different. And it's not a question of doing the same thing every day. It's a question of recognizing what type of condition and or environment you're in and then approaching that appropriately. Gold back up. Beautiful. Market remains pretty subdued and mixed. Absolutely. Jordy, I'm gonna catch up on your comments right now. Brad, do appreciate that. We love having you here with us for real. Thanks, Brad. I'm glad you are here spending time with us, and do appreciate that comment, sharing back. So this was a short session as far as we ran through everything in 43 minutes. Patricio, you know, always available to step in and look at any pair. You know, same thing. Supreet. But we just went through everything. Thanks, appreciate that. I look forward to the streams as well every day. I truly enjoy it. Not only do I really enjoy working through this analysis and these charts for myself, and there's nothing like having a cup of coffee in your hands and going through the charts as you begin that treasure hunt. But you guys have added so much value. I really just look forward to the community and being here with you guys. Good, Gabe. Good. I like being on the same page. I noticed a lot of people in the community happen to be on the same page often now, and that is a lot. There you go, Jim. We're in quiet markets today. Time for patience, right? Market's kind of dead this day. That's absolutely right, Hudson. The markets are dead. That's been the theme of the day. That's why I'm not going back. Listen, first of all, Patricia, sincerely, Supreet, sincerely, you guys know that I'm always willing to go back and look over charts. That's not what's going on right now today. We're not going to, you know, you have the first 43 minutes of the live stream we covered each and every pair. You could go ahead, scroll your mouse until you see the pair that you're looking for and go ahead and check it out. Thanks, Davis. Really, 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 definitely preach that. I appreciate all the thumbs up you guys have given, which is a lot for this early in the session. 20 thumbs up. That's pretty cool. And yeah, guys, you guys have nailed it. The market's kind of dead. The markets are quiet. Jim, it's time for patience. Gabe, I'm glad that you saw that. Also, if you're on the 4 hour in a dead market, you could get beat up in the chop. Come back up to the 8 hour or daily, right? Even from the 8 hour at this point, come back up to the daily and avoid some of that market chop, because that's where we're at right now. Yeah, absolutely, Angelo. All right. I am going to go back though and look at the Euro Australian dollar. You know, out of the goodness of my heart here, you know, it's just, how could I not? So what I'm seeing over here on the Euro Australian dollar is, first of all, this is a strong uptrend. We've pulled back, it looks to my eye, to about the 50% fib. I don't trade off the fibs. I trade off support and resistance. Nevertheless, that's where we pulled back to. You could see over here, we have, and this is, if you put my mouse over here into this resistance, right over there at the top of those candles, that on the right side is actually also then where the end of this move happened as support. And then it got a little tricky with that local resistance right above it. So let me draw that in. And we've come back above that first local resistance and now pull back into what should be support. If you resume off this to the upside, if this holds right here, right now, and you resume to the upside and start making higher highs, all right, that's a possible entry here on the Euro Australian dollar to the long side. What happens if you lose this little area of local support and you come back? You have over here, right? You might hold over here. If you lose this, then you become bearish, right? But I don't like this trade at all. If this is a downtrend, if the downtrend started over here, by the way, right? Could someone say that they are coming in here and they are selling this area of resistance? No, you can't sell. If this is a downtrend, right? You can't sell this resistance because you're coming right. As soon as you take the trade, you're into support. So it's not a good trade to take. You look for where there is opportunity, and this is a trade you stand aside on. All right. There's no opportunity there. See, Thomas, but yeah, the pound is relatively strong. It's kind of, it's moderately strong, right? So that trade is not materializing as well as, you know, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar ones. Yeah. I agree with you though that, and it is almost rolling over though. It's rolling over slowly. It's like a slow train wreck. And I agree with that going into the weekend, which the last two we have not seen risk off. But I see, when I look at this, I see a possible rounding top, which is a topping pattern, right? But I do think the area to attack is below here. Right. So if I was in that trade and I was in a little bit of profit, I would also be holding it. Don't love it. Don't love it. This might have been the first area for entry right over there. But if that thing does roll over and take out the support over here, then I would start loving it. So you might be a little bit early. Nothing wrong with being early to a good trade. Looks like the U.S. indices, which were briefly positive, are now mixed, with the Dow down pretty strongly, NASDAQ up pretty strongly, and the S&P almost unchanged. Well, that's great that now the government's telling us that we should all wear face masks. Meanwhile, we all knew that months ago. Didn't they say that we should not wear face masks at one point? So good, Martine. I jumped in yesterday. So it's a short session for us. It's a very short session, but I think appropriately so. Listen, I'm going to end this session today early, and the reason I'm doing that is because when there's nothing going on, it's not a good idea to be staring at the charts, because you're just going to be tempted to take trades you shouldn't take. All right. So we're going to call it a session. All those that just joined us today, first of all, and most importantly, you guys, I appreciate the kind feedback today. I really do. I thank you all for that so much. And I can't express how strongly that the whole community means to me. And there's so many within it give so much, truly. So have a great day, everyone. And I'll talk to you later.